In part 1 of this video, we have studied 3 ways of improving color, cast, color, temperature problems in various clips. So far, we have only considered a very small portion of palette mallet. Let's take a look at what that is. We have considered the palette in all 3 cases, and in the last case we have also considered the objective. But there is much more to it. Most importantly, there is a simple lookup table which we should use or take advantage of, because unfortunately we have been assuming that the data color spider checker values, red, green, blue, and so on, were the same as RGB values, but they are not. If you take a look at the data provided by data color, you will see that they are near it, but not quite there. So now we can enter all these values into this little lookup table, simple lookup table, and I'm going to do it, but I'm not going to let you watch me doing it. That would be unnecessary, so I'll be back when I'm done. Well, now that we have entered all these values, the screen has turned white. Why is that? Simple reason. The data that we copied is in the 0 to 255 values, as is common, but computer graphic software uses values between 0 and 1, when 0 is black and 1 is white. So what can we do about it? Well, don't worry. Of course, we have a divisor here. We expected this kind of way, so instead of the divisor, which is 1, we can change it to 255, and now we have the table as it is. And of course we want to invert the efficacy, and this is the table of the values, but I'm going to put the efficacy back to 1 because I'm going to be using probably the same spider checker many times over and over. I'm going to save this table. This lookup table, where do we have it? Export lookup table, and I can give it a name, something like spider checker, and we save it. Now if I load it, it will no longer be in the, let's see, spider checker open. Now it's in the 0 to 1 level as before. So anyway, I'm going to pretend that we have not started yet doing anything, because now we want to see the various steps that we need to take for this final method, and we're going to break it down to several smaller steps. So when we come back, we'll start with step 1. Once you have loaded palette mallet, we click on simple lookup table, then in the options, import LUT, and we import the LUT spider checker .solute And here it is, and of course we slide down here and set lot efficacy to -1. That's the first step. Then we can close simple lookup table for now. And by the way, if you're not using Spider Checker, of course you would use whatever table the manufacturer of your chart gives you. You can use any chart as long as it has all 8 colors: black, white, red, green, blue, cyan, magenta, yellow. And if the manufacturer doesn't provide you with this information, you might just make a video with proper lighting holding your chart, and then you'd go to palette and select all 8 of them as well. You would discard Farba, discard Switch, and select all of those, and then you would go on top here to know where it says options, and you would export lot, and then you would use that lot just as we did here for the simple lookup table. That's step 1. Step 2, go to Objective, click on the black, take the color picker, take a sample. Yes, it's gonna look very bad because we have loaded that file. Now invert and set the density to plus 0.2. Notice that I haven't typed it. In Vegas, if you just touch this little thing, then you can right arrow in increments of 0.1, and that's step 2. Step 3, click on discard Farba, select discard Switch, open palette, and select white through as before. I'm just going to speed up through it. Re-enable Farba, re-enable Switch. Everything seems to disappear, that's fine. Change palette efficacy to -1. That is step 3. And we can close the palette, by the way. Okay, ready for step 4? Even though in step 3 we did not do anything with the black level, we still have a very high contrast. This is because of the simple lookup table. So in step 4, we will reset black in the single lookup table, and now the contrast looks good. We didn't do it in step 1 because it would have affected negatively step 2. So we do it now in step 4. Well, this looks pretty good now. So why do we need a step 5? Because it's not good enough for me. The colors, in my opinion, are lacking something. Something that is hard to describe. Are they not saturated enough? Are they not contrasted enough? Or is it something else? Well, I know what it is. I'm going to show you now. So we click in this step 5, we click on Mallet. Within Mallet, we click on Farba. And within Farba on Basic Farba. Now we can play with that. I said maybe it's not saturated enough. Let's increase the saturation. No, that's definitely not it. How about contrast? Let's increase the contrast. No, definitely not it. There is something that I have never seen described anywhere, but it was my own idea, but I'm sure other people may have thought about it before. I've just never seen it. What I call the natural contrast, which is different for every color. And if we increase the natural contrast to 1 here, now the colors look much better. So that's step 5, but we're still not done. Well, we're not going to get it much better, but we can get it somewhat better, refine it, very fine points. But if you quit at this time in your own work, nobody could blame you. I just want to show you what else we can do and how else we can improve it. So we're going to revisit the palette. Now note how dark all of these are, and do we really want this to become white, or do we want the brightest possible version of this to become white? Do we want this to become red, or do we want the brightest possible version of this to become red, and so on? Well, Vegas has a certain OFX extension that other similar editors may or may not support. I don't know, that it can show colors, color pickers in RGB, HSV, LAB, and so on. And so Mallet in Vegas for the Civic, which is black and white, uses the HSV model, and for the Farba it uses the RGB model. So we're going to click on white, and we're in HSV, but it's showing saturation and value in the square, and the hue in this one. We want the value in this one, so I'll click here and select V, and now you see this is the value. So if I slide it all the way up, value will become 1, and this is as bright as it can go without changing hue or saturation. Now red is in RGB, so I have to first change it to HSV, then change this to V, and then I can slide it all the way up. And similarly for the rest of them, I'm just going to speed up through them. And that is step 6, and as you can see, the colors look even better than they did before, but it's just a slight improvement. And we're going to do one more final step before we're done. So let me close palette. And let's see what the next step is. In the 7th and final step of method 4, Let's see if maybe we could make it just a little brighter. Maybe. Let's see. Okay, so how can we make it brighter after all this? Well, remember that palette mallet is kind of based on what film would look like. So in the simple lookup table, we have the option to double ISO, which will multiply everything by a square root of 2, because this is we have a width and a height. So square root of 2 times square root of 2 is 2. It doubles ISO. And there is also the option of having ISO, which divides everything by square root of 2. Now in this case, we already have a table here, and the efficacy of the table is -1. So instead of doubling ISO in the table, I'm going to have it. Click that, and that should make it brighter just a little bit. Let's see. Okay, and that's it. That's all there is to method 4, and all that remains for this video is to show you the final result, and then I'll see you in part 3 of this video. Well, this is ridiculous. Just look at the colors of this video clip. How awful they are. The color temperature is all wrong. Why on earth would you be even watching it? Oh, you want to fix it. Well, perhaps this can help. Maybe we can expand it so you see some white here. Or we can even go further with a spider checker. Can you see it like this? Okay, now you can try to fix it, and let's see what you've got.